From West Java, we move over to the island of paradise, the island of the gods, Bali. Well, tourism businesses in Bali have been in the spotlight lately due to the over-tourism allegations that may disturb the island's image as world's favorite tourist destinations. However, according to the government, tourism in Bali has been too focused on certain areas in the island and neglected other potential places.
Bali has been known internationally as a beautiful island that becomes a favorite among foreign tourists. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Bali received 6.3 million tourists, or about 40% of the total foreign tourists coming to Indonesia. When global tourism revived after the pandemic, foreign tourists started to come to Bali again. However, more opinion about tourism in Bali have emerged lately, which pointed out that the island had been facing an over-tourism, or a situation where there were just too many tourists coming to the island. The allegations of over-tourism came out due to a number of social problems rising in the past few years. According to latest data, the number of foreign tourists in Bali last year reached 5.2 million arrivals, still below the pre-pandemic levels in 2019 at 6.3 million. The government argues that the current situation was not an over-tourism, but rather an over-concentration of tourists in certain areas of the island. The government views that other parts of Bali, such as the northern areas, still lack of tourist arrivals due to limited accessibility.
Bali saw astounding growth in tourism after the pandemic. In the first half of this year, the number of tourist arrivals in Bali was 2.9 million. We set a target of 6.4 million in 2024. From that, there were still a few tourists visited Buleleng and northern Bali. They largely concentrated in southern Bali. It has almost become over-tourism. This issue became our attention. We invite media to attract more coming to North Bali, especially Buleleng.
Currently, tourist visits are centered in southern Bali, such as Kuta Beach, Sanur, and Nusa Dua, whereas in fact, there are a lot of other attractive tourist destinations in northern part of the island, such as Buleleng Regency. However, tourists have to spend a lot of time on the road to reach the area due to limited access. This has resulted into low absorption of tourists in the area at 10% of total tourist visits in Bali.
Data shows only 10% of the total of tourists in Bali visited Buleleng. One major issue is accessibility, where there's a long distance, limited road infrastructure from southern Bali to Buleleng. Tourists having short stay will lose most time to visit northern Bali. They tend to choose to stay near the airport. The government needs to put attention on how to improve access to Buleleng.
Local tourism industry players have also complained about the limited access to northern part of Bali. They hope the government will soon build adequate infrastructure to promote northern Bali tourism.
Tourism will develop faster if tourist destinations have good access. We only have one single access from Denpasar to northern Bali without alternatives. When there's vehicle stops, there will be traffic congestion, especially during weekend and religious festivals. Those are weaknesses of northern Bali. Guests who come here are exhausted. Policymakers have to think about this.
The northern part of Bali has 86 tourist destinations, with 46% of them are nature-based or ecotourism, while the rest are culture-focused. North Bali will lose in its tourism competition if there are no improvement in infrastructure. Authorities may need to push development in northern Bali to prevent over-tourism in certain parts of the island, which may damage its image as a safe and comfortable global tourist destination.